You're watching Let's Chat.
Ice on the landing, curling with cast iron. Sounds like fun. We're moving ahead, shifting gears, and we are happy to be joined by our attorney friend Gary Massey from Massey & Associates. Gary, good to see you as always.
Good to see you, Chip.
Several things that we want to cover the bases, so to speak, this morning. And this one came from the email bag.
Okay.
It said, Dear Gary, I got COVID at work or at a work-related event. My employer, quite frankly, is playing hardball. Does this fall under workman's compensation laws?
I would say yes, Chip. Of course, with the newness of COVID-19, there haven't been cases come through the court system to get through an appeals process to give a really definite answer to a question like that. But the rules for workers' compensation are, if it arises as a result of your employment, if it's caused by your employment during the course and scope of your employment, and it is some sort of physical illness or injury, then it is compensable under workers' compensation. And so I would say that is a workers' compensation case. Of course, one of the big questions that's immediately going to come up is, how do you know where you contracted the disease? And so, there are a lot of people who in their job have to travel to different places, delivery people, repair people, service industry type jobs where you're in and out of different places and where it will make a lot of sense. But you would probably still have to eliminate other sources that you didn't get it at home, that you didn't get it in your personal life, and that might be a pretty high hurdle.
And companies big and small are all handling this COVID crisis, this pandemic, differently. Some of the companies you think that would do the right thing by their employees are not, and the reverse is also true. But just to set the record straight, as far as COVID is concerned, the laws have not changed.
That's right. There's really no new laws addressing how a case is handled where a person gets COVID-19 and it affects their job or they get it at work. There's just nothing that's come through the government that I've seen that changes that. But you still have the same laws in place, like workers' compensation, like family medical leave, like Adults with Disabilities Act, that are still in place that would apply to a situation like this.
You're one of the pioneering firms in this area when it comes to dealing with elder abuse. A lot of us have loved ones, friends that are in a nursing home or an extended living kind of facility. Are you seeing an uptick in the amount of cases concerning elder abuse since this pandemic has set in?
We are. We're seeing a significant increase in the number of calls that we get where people are really concerned and dissatisfied with the care that their loved one is getting. And I can't give you exact percentages, but I know that we're getting a lot of calls and seeing a lot of potential cases. And I don't know if it's because the different facilities are really stretched thin and having trouble, with staffing. They've always had trouble with staffing. They've always tried to keep their staffing stretched as thin as they can. And maybe it's gotten worse, but we're getting a lot of complaints about their loved ones, people's loved ones not getting appropriate care, at least in the loved one's opinion. And it's really difficult to know because you can't be inside the facility almost any of the time.
And not all of these facilities have a window even where you could go up and look at mom or look at dad or look at your aunt or uncle. So it's certainly a trying situation on both counts. But obviously there comes a line, and when the nursing facility crosses that line, that's where you get involved as far as abuse is concerned. And abuse can take many forms, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. And what is the one thing, I guess, if you had to nail it down, that those of us on the outside need to be looking for on our relatives on the inside?
Well, there are a few really big red flags. Things like severe weight loss, dehydration, which causes a lack of ability to communicate, a loss of cognition, they call it, but where a person's mind is not working as well, that's from a lack of food or a lack of drink oftentimes. And another one that we really see really often is bed sores. When a person is not getting the type of treatment, if they're confined to a bed, if they're not able to take themselves to the bathroom, they're not getting the type of changes that they need, the type of cleaning that they need, then it causes skin breakdown.
And now more than ever, you have to be the patient's advocate. You have to be the one, and it's not easy with the pandemic and the rules that a lot of these facilities have, but you have to be the patient's advocate.
Absolutely.
And their caregiver, even though you are doing it from a distance.
Family involvement is the biggest preventative measure.
Gary, good to see you as always.
you.
We'll visit with you again here in a couple of weeks, and we hope you will stay with us here on Let's Chat. You can get in touch with Gary and the gang at Massey and Associates out on Lee Highway, MasseyAttorneys.com. Again, MasseyAttorneys.com.